Hey guys, welcome back to the 7th episode of Tuesday TechZone Talk. Today we have a special guest, David, my brother. Yeah, he's going to be with us today to talk about the whole topic of depression. So I want to start off with, we're going to ask a few questions that people might have about some topic or this area issue. And the first question I want to ask is, what would you advise to someone that has depression and is afraid to seek help?
I would advise them to be with their friends or anyone that they feel comfortable with, be it their family or their friends, because people who are afraid to seek help, they usually don't want to cause a lot of attention bring a lot of attention to themselves. So being around people that you care about and they care about you, it really makes you feel a whole lot better, and you don't have to deal with depression alone.
Yeah, I agree with that, is to definitely talk out with your friends and stuff, to talk out with your close friends and families, and maybe that close friend or family should also tell them that they're not alone, because I think a lot of people feel like they're in a state where they feel like they're alone. They feel like they're the only one dealing with this, and by opening up or seeking help, they seem weaker, or they seem like they're in a very low place. So I think part of being that close friend or part of being that close family member is to make sure that they don't feel alone.
Another question is, how do you approach someone that is going through self-harm? Because when a lot of people are in depression, they tend to harm themselves. So how do you approach someone?
It's very difficult, because the thing that you should do is tell an adult, because self-harming is bad. And usually the reason why they self-harm is because, so usually when they feel depressed, they feel this certain type of pain through, like, it can be family problems or bullying or any type of pain they feel, so they self-harm so that they can forget about that pain and just focus on the pain that they're doing to themselves. But sometimes when they're depressed, they feel empty, they don't feel nothing, they feel numb, so they self-harm to feel something. So it's really hard, because they don't really want to seek help. They want help, but they don't show it. And it's really good if you know someone who's self-harming, just be with them. Like, you don't have to talk with them, because sometimes they don't want to talk about their problems, because they might not be open enough to talk. So just be with them. You can just not talk, just be with them, so that they can know that you're there, they can feel that you're there, so that they know that they're not alone. But if there's a point where that is too much, you have to tell an adult, and they might hate you for it in the beginning, but they'll thank you when it's all over.
Yeah, literally, you just staying with someone, just that feeling of having someone that you're really close with being with you is enough, because that itself speaks more than talking. And I think sometimes we don't want to. Sometimes what we like to do is we care, so we try to force them to respond to us, force them to tell us what's going on. But I think that leads to a negative aspect, because maybe they're not ready to talk about what's going on. Maybe they're afraid to talk about what's going on. So like David said, just stay with them. Just being with them is really enough.
And then it'll come to a point where they themselves will open up to you.
Yeah, to the point where they're more comfortable at that point.
Yeah, and it's really important to hang around people you actually care about and talk with, because like one of my favorite artists, rappers, his name is X, and when he was younger, he said that he used to go through a lot of depression, right? He went through depression, and he said that he could be in a group of thousands of people and he still feel alone. He still feel like there was nobody with him. So I like, it's really important to be with people you care about, even though you might not want to.
Yeah, someone who really knows you, someone who really cares about you, someone who's your close friend, your close family member. Just being there is more, like, we talked about the importance of communication, but sometimes we have to understand that the other person might not be ready to communicate. So like I said, just staying with them and just do regular things with them.
Yeah, and sometimes the strongest form of communication is just through action, because just by being there, you can say a lot for that person. You can show them that you care for them and that you want them to get better, and not even by saying anything, just by being there for them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Another question that we have is, how do you, what would you advise to someone to help them prevent from having suicidal thoughts, or people that have suicidal thoughts?
What would you tell them?
Yeah. Or how would you help them?
Nothing really, because you can't. Well, what I think, it's up to them, because you can tell them a million things, but it's up to them to listen to you or not. Because like people who are like depressed, they tend to be like stubborn. They only think, they don't listen to other people because they think that they're wrong. So that's why I'm saying, like, just be there with them, because it's really hard to convince them to not think that way, because once they think that way, it's hard to stop. And if they do self-harm, then they might, it's like an addiction, like they can't stop doing it. So it's like you can't stop someone who's like smoking cigarettes, hey, just stop, like, right? Get me? Yeah, it's like a whole process, and you have to be very patient with that person. So it's more like you said, it's more actions than speaking. So you have to, and you can tell them stuff, but not just once. You can, like, it's just little things, like every day, like saying like boosting their self-esteem, because usually it's more like, it's a lot about like their self-esteem. Sometimes they feel that they're not worthy enough, so that's why they do themselves harm. So building up their self-esteem little by little, it's like a process. You have to be patient with them. So it's just for the long run, you have to be patient.
Yeah, and I think that if you keep trying to tell them not to commit suicide, if you keep trying to do that, they're gonna be frustrated at you for always saying the same thing over and over again, and it actually doesn't help them feel any better, and sometimes it can actually be worse. So definitely, like you, David and Martin said, is definitely to be there with them, to show them that you're always going to be there when they are ready to speak out. But you don't necessarily have to continue telling them don't do that, because that doesn't really help the situation.
Yeah, like don't tell them directly, like, oh, don't do this, don't do, just like little thing, like oh, you look great today, or something like that, to help them, make them feel better. It's not necessarily you're telling them, oh, stop doing that. You have to more like, you get me, like
more indirectly. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Also, I think like another issue with the topic of depression is a lot of people take it lightly. Like even like school, I know a lot of people like say joke like, oh, they're doing bad in school, or they have a lot of work, and they're like, oh my gosh, like something's like, oh, I just want to kill myself. I don't want to do this anymore, or stuff like that. And I feel like in this generation, people take it too lightly, like as a joke. But it's important to know that there are a lot of people out there that are going through depression, and I feel like we just have to be more considerate as a community.
And making fun of suicide is really harmful for a friend, for like a close friend, because that close friend might actually think that you're considering these things, and then they would be in a place where they don't know how to help you. So I think that if you're someone who's making fun of these serious things that people are dealing with, you have to stop, because if you keep doing this, then your friends, your close family might actually think that you're dealing with this, and they're going to be in a position where they don't know what to do, or they're in a position where they're scared that one day you might actually be gone.
And also, like, you have to be careful too, because a lot of people joke around with it, and like you said, people that are going through depression don't like to show it. So you might have a friend that's going through it and you don't know, and then what if you just start joking around about it? They're gonna probably end up feeling even worse. You get me? Like,
yeah, because this is something that they're dealing with, and then
you're just making fun of it.
Exactly, like that's just like the worst thing.
Yeah, I had a friend, like, it's because you really have to be careful what you say, because I had a friend, like, they used to tease her about her hair, because she would color her hair, and then one time she told me, she's like, I cut myself to sleep. So like she was really brought down because by the words that people told her. So like you have to be careful what they say of what you say, because sometimes people take it like far, and like they get really upset by that and like depressed of what you say, because it like to them it's like something like drastic that they're dealing with, and if you're just making fun of it, then they're gonna feel worse.
And like the main point is that a lot of people are really sensitive. Like some people, you could tell them something and they won't take it to heart, but a lot of people take everything to heart easily. They take it personally. So it's just, you just have to be considerate with how you interact with people, because you never know when that person might be someone that takes things to heart.
And about that, it's also how important something is to them. Mm-hmm. If something is so personal to you, like you've been through depression or you've been through thoughts of suicide, and then someone was to joke about it, then of course you're going to be sensitive about it, because it's something that you actually dealt with too. So I think part of that is just to be careful about not to joke around about these things, not to understand that this is a serious disease that people are going through, understand that this is something that's really serious, and that there are people that are actually lost, there are people that don't know how to seek out and things like that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that think it's just something you can get over with like that. They said that, oh, it's all in your head, just don't be sad no more and it'll go away. Like, no, it's not as simple as that. It's a mental, like something, it's a disease. It's it's an issue that people go through.
It's like you can help other people, but you really have to know and understand them. I had a friend, she used to self-harm, and it was very like drastic. It was not like, oh, just a few cuts. No, it was a lot. Like even now, she stopped. Like it's been 3 years since she stopped, but she still has the scars. Like it was really a lot, and she would tell me all these things. Like, oh, and there's also people like there's like, she was a masochist. You know what a masochist is? Is basically someone who likes pain, like who likes to feel pain. Yeah. So she would tell me like she would tell me everything, because I was really close to her, and she would tell me like, oh yeah, I like how the blood runs down my arms and my wrists, and at first I wouldn't understand why, but like just hearing, I know a lot about that, because you really have to. You really have to know in order to deal with something like that. You have to like know, and how, like you have to know how they think, because she would tell me that she was like worthless and she didn't belong nowhere. So it's basically comes part of the problem of these types of things is mostly like self-esteem, because like you get to the point where you feel like you're nothing. And yeah, she ended up going to the hospital and she got some help, and she's doing fine now. She was gonna end her life twice, but everything's good.
Yeah, and I think like for that situation, if you do have someone that's dealing with that, is like the main thing that we mentioned in this episode was to show them that you're always there, just to be there with them. Not necessarily, you don't necessarily always have to talk about it, but just sort of be there with them and act like if they were any other friend. All right, so what would you say is like the positive message, like to what people can do if they have friends that deal with this situation, or if they're dealing with this personally?
I feel like the positive message is that you do have the power to help them. You have the power to prevent something that could go horribly wrong. And it's just as long as you be with them, just show them that you care for them. Don't necessarily go and tell them, just like actions speak louder than words. And also that if you are going through depression, know that you aren't alone. You might feel alone, and you might feel like there's nothing to live for, but there's always hope. And I feel like as long as you know that and take comfort in that, there's hope.
Yeah, always be there with them. Always be careful, but like always be there with them, so that they know that they're not alone in this world. All right, well, that concludes this episode of Tuesday TechZone Talks. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like it, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comment section below, and then like this episode.
And we'll put the suicide hotline down in the description for anybody that might need it.
In case if you need to talk to someone, or if you're afraid to talk to someone personally and you would rather talk to someone anonymously. Anonymously. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with another episode of Tuesday TechZone Talks.